Hello ASVAB warriors. In today's video, we are going to learn about exponents and powers. So, this type of questions are asked in your ASVAB exam many times. So, the first thing that I would like to explain you in this particular slide is nothing but, now let's say, what are exponents? So, basically, what are exponents? So, let's say, if there is any particular number 3 to the power 2, exponent is nothing but repeated multiplication of any number. So we call this as base, we call this as power. So 3 to the power 2 means what? 3 is multiplied with itself, repetitive multiplication. 3 is multiplied with itself 2 times, so it is 3 times 3. Now just imagine, if it was 5 to the power 4, what does that mean? 5 is the base, 4 is the exponent or power. 5 to the power 4 means what? 5 is multiplied with itself 4 times. I hope you have understood what is the basic meaning of exponent, which is nothing but repetitive multiplication. And what is multiplication? It's repetitive addition. So do not get confused between multiplication and exponents. Now, moving on to the next slide, where we are going to learn about few rules that you need to remember in order to excel in your exponents and power chapter. So the first is product of power rules. So in this particular rule, what are we going to study about? Let's say A is the base having the power n times same base, which is A to the power n, which is nothing but A to the power m times A to the power n is equal to A to the power m plus n. Now this is the first rule that you need to understand about exponents. So what I am going to do here, I'll explain you how this rule was exactly derived. Till that you can just note it down somewhere in the corner of your notebook. Okay, so let me give you an example. So let's say 7 to the power 2 times 7 to the power 3 is equal to what? I don't know. We'll try to solve it using the rules of the exponent. So let's say, if I use the rule of exponent A to the power m times A to the power n, so A is same, what will we get? A to the power m plus n, which is nothing but 2 plus 3. What do we get? 2 plus 3 is nothing but 5. So 7 to the power 5 is correct. But now, if I have to explain you guys, if I have to explain you how did we get to this conclusion, 7 to the power 2 is what? 7 times 7. 7 to the power 2 is what? 7 times 7 times 7 to the power 3 is 7 to the power 3 is what? 7 times 7 times 7. So what do you get? 7 is multiplied with itself 5 times. So what can I say? 7 to the power 5 is your answer. I hope you understood this rule. Now, if you have got this, what are we going to do? We are basically going to solve few questions. So the first question says that simplify the following expression, which is 3 to the power 4 times 3 to the power 2. If you see, same base, different power. So I'll write it down. A to the power m times A to the power n is nothing but A to the power m plus n. What will I do? I'll write down 3 to the power 4 times 3 to the power 2 will be nothing but equal to what? 3 to the power, which is the same base, to the power 4 plus 2. So what do I get? 3 to the power 6. So which option is correct? Option A is correct. I hope you understood this easy question. Now I'll solve few more questions and then you will have to solve some questions on your own. So here I have x to the power 5. Remember, I am going to solve the questions based on the first rule. So I want you to get perfect at the first rule, then we will be simultaneously going on the other rules as well. So x to the power 5 times x to the power 3. So what will I write? A to the power m times a to the power n is equal to what? A to the power m plus n. So x to the power 5 times x to the power 3 is equal to what? X to the power 5 plus 3, which is nothing but x to the power 8. So, which option is correct? Option A is correct. I hope you understood this as well. So, here guys, I have a question for you to solve. So, the question says, simplify 2 to the power 6 times 2 to the power 3. If you want to solve it, please pause the video and solve it. When you solve it, you are going to get the answer equal to 2 to the power 6 plus 3, which is nothing but 2 to the power 9. So 2 to the power 9. Click the like button if you got the answer right. Okay. Now, here is another challenging question for you. So guys, please solve this question on your own. Okay. Solve this question on your own, and I want you to write down the answer in the comment box. I'm not going to solve it for you. Okay. Let's move on to the next rule of exponent, which is nothing but quotient of powers rule. Now remember guys, what was the first rule? The first rule said a to the power m times a to the power n is nothing but equal to a to the power m plus n. Whenever there is multiplication, you add the power. Now there is division, what will you do? You will subtract the power. So a to the power m, a to the power n is nothing but a to the power m minus n. Similarly, I am going to solve a question for you to understand. 7 to the power 5 over 7 to the power 2 is nothing but equal to 7 times 7 to the power 5 means what? 7 is multiplied with itself 5 times. 7 to the power 2 means what? 7 times 7. So what will I do now? I'll take the common factor as 7, cancel it out. 7, 7, cancel. What is remaining? You have 7 times 7 times 7, which is nothing but 7 to the power 3. So I had to do so much operations in order to get to this answer. So that is why, in order to reduce our efforts, we can use this identity, or we can use this rule. So it says 7 to the power 5, 7 to the power 2, which is nothing but 7 to the power m minus n, which is 5 minus 2, which is 7 to the power 3. I hope you guys understood this. Let us solve some questions based on it. Okay? And when we solve some questions, I want you to try it out on your own as well. Okay? So these are easy questions guys. So x to the power 8 divided by x to the power 5. So what will I do now? I'll just write it in the formula. I'll write down the formula first. A to the power m divided by a to the power n is nothing but a to the power m minus n. So x to the power 8 over x to the power 5 is nothing but x to the power 8 minus 5, which is nothing but x to the power 3. It does look like a 5, but it is not a 5, it is a 3. Okay, so x to the power 3. Option A is correct. I hope you understood this. Now, with that knowledge, we are going to move on to the next question. Guys, if you don't understand something, you can ask me in the comment box, okay? Now, the question says that simplify 5 to the power 9 divided by 5 to the power 3. Remember, the base is same, powers are different. What do? I simply subtract 9 minus 3. What do I get? 5 to the power 6. So option A is correct. Now, when we move on to the next slide, I want you to solve this question on your own. So the question says 7 to the power 5. 7 to the power 5 or 7 to the power 2 is equal to what? I want you to write down the answer in the comment box. Let us move on to the third rule of the exponent, which is also very important. Power of a power rule. So what does that mean? If there is something like this, a to the power m to the power n will be equal to what? A to the power m times n. Let me give you an example. 5 to the power 3 to the power 2 will be equal to 5 to the power 3 times 2, which is nothing but 5 to the power 6. How did I get to this conclusion? I'll just try to explain it to you guys. 5 to the power 3 is what? 5 times 5 times 5 to the power 2 as it is. Now what does this power 2 means? this particular base is multiplied with itself 2 times. So what will I do now? 5 times 5 times 5, multiply this one time, I'm going to multiply it second time. 5 times 5 times 5. Now if you observe carefully, if 5 is multiplied with itself 6 times, what does that give us? It gives us 5 to the power 6. So instead of doing all these calculations, you can just write this equation down or write this rule down, learn it, and you can just apply it directly. So let us move on for solving some questions for this particular identity. So what is given? X to the power 3 to the power 4. So what am I going to do now? The first thing that I will do for you is I'll write down the rule. A to the power m to the power n is nothing but equal to a to the power m times n. So what do I get for this? X to the power 3 to the power 4 is nothing but x to the power 3 times 4, which is nothing but x to the power 12. So option B is correct for this case. Okay, let me solve one more question for you guys. Then I'm going to give you 2 questions for you to solve. Now, I hope you understand the question. 2 to the power 4 to the power 2. So what do you get? 2 to the power 4 to the power 2. Just simply multiply the powers. 2 to the power 4 times 2, which is nothing but 2 to the power 8. Okay, I am taking easy questions for your foundations of the exponent and power to be very powerful. Okay, you can just apply the simple rules in all types of questions that you get for exponents. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. So this is the first question that you need to solve, which is 5 to the power 2 to the power 3. Okay, this is the first question that you need to solve for this rule, and this is the second question that you need to solve for this rule, which is a to the power 4 to the power 5. Guys, please take a notebook, solve it, and write down the answer in the comment box. Learning is a two-way process. Okay, you cannot learn if you're just seeing my video. You will learn more effectively if you take a notebook, solve the questions with me, and write the answer in the comment box so that I know that you are learning with me as well. Yep. Now let's move on to the last rule of this video, which is nothing but power of a product rule. So which says AB to the power n. Let me simplify it for you further. Which says A to the power A times B to the power n. So if there is some number which is multiplied, okay, with each other, and they are having a common power, so you can directly simplify it like this: A to the power n times B to the power n. Just to give you an example, if it is 5 times 2 to the power 3, what will you get? According to this rule, it will be 5 to the power 3 times 2 to the power 3. Okay, and how do you say, how was this rule invented? So what can I write about this? 5 times 2 is the base, which is multiplied 3 times with itself. So what will I do? 5 times 2 multiplied one time, 5 times 2 multiplied twice, 5 times 2 multiplied thrice. So how many 5s are there? 1, 2, 3. So I can write it as 5 to the power 3 times. How many 2s are there? 1, 2, 3, 2 to the power 3. So this is nothing but similar. So we don't have to do this much calculations in order to get this. It is just simple. Just write down this rule somewhere in the corner of your notebook, and guys, you'll be able to solve so many questions based on this rule very, very easily. Okay, now let me solve some questions for you, and I'll give you some questions as well. Yep, so the first thing, 3x to the power 2. So 3x to the power 2. What does that mean? I'll write down the rule. The rule says AB to the power n is equal to a to the power n times b to the power n. So here I'll write this 3 to the power 2 times x to the power 2. What is 3 to the power 2? 3 times 3, which is nothing but 9. X to the power 2 is nothing but x square. So option A is correct. I just simplified this a bit. 3 to the power 2 is nothing but 9. Okay, next. So the question says 4a cube to the power 2. Interesting question. So what will I do now? I'll write down the identity for you. A b to the power n is nothing but a to the power n times b to the power n. Okay, just write this down. A b 4a cube to the power 2. So what will I get? In place of a we have 4. So 4 to the power 2 times. This is our b. So a cube whole square. So what do we have? 4 square is nothing but 4 times 4, which is 16. A cube to the power 2. So what do we do? According to the last rule, you multiply those. So a 3 times 2, which is nothing but 16a to the power 6. So let's see if there is some option like that. Yep, option A is correct. Now let's move on to the next few questions. So guys, here is the first question that you have to solve. I'll just read it out for you. Okay. Guys, here is the first question that you have to solve on your own and write the answer in the comment box. So the question says 2xy to the power q. Okay. Next is nothing but ab square to the power 3. Look, what is going to happen? Initially it was, the rule was just about ab to the power n. You can also do it as abc to the power n, which is nothing but a to the power n times b to the power n times c to the power n. Okay, I hope you understood this. Try to solve all the questions that I have given you in this particular video and write them down in the comment box. If you have some doubts, you guys can ask it to me, and if you want me to make a particular video on some topic, you can let me know about it as well. So this is your mathematics knowledge coach Vivek signing off. Thank you so much. Have a good day ahead.